Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spiritual Injection. A lot of you are repeat attendees and regular guests, and we are honored to have you on this journey with us. We do hope that you have brought someone along with you to share in this mindset development platform, the Spiritual Injection. We invite you to go to our YouTube page at Spiritual Injection, and of course, you can find us on all major social media channels at Spiritual Injection. One thing that we ask of you, apart from, of course, to extract the principles and the motivation from each episode and apply it so that you can actually have a true testimonial on the benefit of spending an hour with us on a weekly basis. Aside from that, we ask that you go to our YouTube page, like, subscribe, and share. So like, subscribe, and share, and help us to develop the platform. It's one thing that we ask of you. So this evening we have another special guest for you. Regardless of the theme, I do encourage you to invite anyone who you think would benefit from a midweek, let's say a midweek boost, a midweek refocus upon all those things that get absorbed in the busyness of day-to-day life. Anyone who you feel has goals and aspirations or is even worthy of having goals and aspirations, not yet been able to actualize them, keep them in mind, register them, send them a link, and invite them to come on the platform with you. So this week we have, you will halfway through think of at least one person that you wish was here with you. This evening we have our special guest, Lionel. Um, he is known to us dearly. However, he's here in a professional capacity, and we look forward to hearing what he has to share with us this evening. So Lionel Mohammed is born in the UK. He's a building surveyor of Caribbean parentage, and father and grandfather of two, has been and still is a proud member of the Nation of Islam for over 30 years. After decades of working in the UK social housing sector, he is now embracing a global citizenship lifestyle with a vision for highlighting the benefits of relocating internationally. And I must say he does that every time I speak to him. He he almost is disappointed with me at the fact that I haven't taken advantage of not only the opportunities that he has shared, of course, but you know, he definitely does encourage me, as he just did, Brother Lionel, to broaden my horizons. So he's now, as I said, embracing global citizenship lifestyle with a vision for highlighting the benefits of relocating internationally, particularly in Rwanda, while openly addressing the challenges that come with it. Now based in Kigali, Lionel is the CEO of Love Mahazi Resorts, a wellness-focused hospitality project near the beautiful Lake Mahazi. And I saw some um, wonderful pictures that you shared with us a few years ago, Lionel, with real estate and land opportunities. So it is beautiful. Scheduled to launch in January 2027, the resort is built around the theme of love and well-being, aiming to create a space where people celebrate love in its many forms, meet personal growth, and come together. Through his efforts, Lionel seeks to make a contribution towards shaping the future of exceptional hospitality, build some legacy, and inspire others to explore new horizons for building meaningful connections across the globe. Very focused, very focused and tight bio. So I will present to you or represent to you our host, Abdul Hakim, and I really do look forward to going further into this program. Unmute yourself and welcome our host and our special guest, and of course, put your cameras on if possible. Welcome, brother.
And thank you and warm welcome
Welcome.
to Wa alaikum salam. And warm welcome to each and every one who have gathered in our in our Zoom room, and those of you listening and tuning in live on Facebook, we welcome you. Whatever platform you're on, we welcome you. And as previously mentioned by my co-host, I would implore you to send a message to someone, send a text message, or most of you are off camera, just call your sons and your daughters and brothers and sisters and those closest to you to come on and, as mentioned, receive a midweek inspiration, because many of us talk about things we desire to do and then talk so much about it, we talk our way out of it. So we talk our way out of things. So when you actually have the opportunity to behold those who have executed on what they once shared with you as a vision that they wanted to execute, then you are being given the opportunity to hear and to follow the steps and to see how one is able to execute, the will that is within each and every one of us. But when you see a strong will, in action, then it's something you can draw inspiration from. Compiling your text message, nice, but if you forget to send it, it doesn't reach the recipient. So today's broadcast is very dear to me, because I've known brother for a good period of time, and he has been present when we have discussed many a project, many a project. And to see someone who's been in the room actually take responsibility and act on it, and jump on a plane and go solo to a country like David Livingstone or some of these, explorers, let's go and see. Because these are countries, and when we say to you today, we're traveling, come travel with us to Rwanda, these are countries that most people just don't necessarily have on their agenda. And you will find, when you do go to these places, there's a treasure waiting for you if you're willing to take the plunge and to trailblaze, if you will. So today is going to be a great evening as we travel to Rwanda and follow the steps of our brother Lionel Muhammad. So without furthering, because I want to get into it and time is short, without furthering, as I said, very dear brother to me, love him like, as you would say in the Caribbean, cook food. And because he's a man, he executes. He says what he means and means what he says, and follows through on that which is his responsibility. So it's a great honor and a privilege, Brother Lionel, to have you here today. And as I said, when you shared with me what you were doing in Rwanda, I did insist that you come on today so that all of those in the listening audience can actually see and be inspired by what you're doing, because England is a place that we've extracted great experience and, a lot of benefits from. And the main benefit is to come to the conclusion that this is not the best part of the planet Earth. However, you can adopt skills and then use those skills to go and establish something great for yourself and bring back what you learn, or bring what you learn to your brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora. So those of you in the listening audience, please take your devices off of mute and receive our special guest this evening, Brother Lionel Muhammad. Warm welcome, dear brother, to the Spiritual Injection. Very warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome, brother.
Welcome. Welcome. Greetings, Brother Lionel. Praise to Allah.
I really,
Welcome.
Yes. So those of you in the listening audience, if you can be mindful of Zoom etiquette, which means to know where the mute button is, and if you're not speaking, use it. Okay. So thank you, Brother Lionel. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Minister. I really, really appreciate that introduction and all that you do goes without saying. The privilege and the honor is obviously mine. Privilege and honor is mine. I got reminded when it comes to me being a contributor. I'm homegrown, right? I'm a homegrown contributor, as you've spoken to. I've been around for a minute and I've had the benefit of being a recipient of all the inspiration from the spiritual injection and beyond. So it's absolutely my pleasure for being able to be here to contribute and to share a little bit of my experience, given the fact that I've made that journey and find myself here in Rwanda. Ownership is freedom, turning vision into legacy. It's almost like the perfect theme for
Yes.
me to be in this brother. When I saw it, I was like, that's right on it and hits home for me because with being over here, the idea is that it's a serious endeavor and and with the time being so serious, then we have to make sure that we have that theme that's out in front of us that's set in principle that's going to allow us to be able to, you know, be fit for purpose, with how we spend our time. So I did want to give because I've been inspired so much by spiritual injection, I did want to give a really personal bearing of witness to time that I spent here and my endeavors and and the things that have inspired me and the progress that I feel I've made. It's a work in progress. And as Sister Sylvina mentioned, I'm due to launch something next year. So I first came here in 2022 to Rwanda. But if I go back a little bit, my first experience in coming to Africa was as long ago as 1998. I traveled in 1998 to the beautiful country of Tanzania. Tanzania was somewhere I found myself. I had the opportunity to visit and do some volunteering work. So I went to Tanzania in 1998 for 6 months, fell in love with the everything in being there, with it being my first African experience. Everything seemed to fall into place. I was able to feel good in the environment, get on with the people. Then I even had a love affair with the language. So those of you that know me know that I, I dabble in language as best I can, because I find it's a it's a it's a talent I have. So anywhere I go, I try and speak a little bit of the language. So I want to just be able to share um, the fact that I went to Tanzania. I had no idea I would end up here in Ethiopia, so here in Rwanda. Years later, when looking at my circumstances there in the UK, and as you said, Brother Minister, we have the benefit of being from the UK, and there's a lot of benefit that comes from it. We're exposed to a lot of things. We end up having lots of opportunity to make progress. However, we may not necessarily be happy with that environment, and we know the challenges from being over there.
Can everybody please mute? Sorry, Brother Lionel.
It's that disrespect closes doors, that apology.
Okay.
Yes. So in in having made up my mind that I was gonna look to see how I could entertain the idea of relocating in a in a significant way, then I started to do some due diligence for looking at what country that would be. I thought it was going to be Tanzania, so it would be my first love. Then I joined up to a program that was looking at opportunities in Africa. And what was really good about the program is that it was giving all of the actual facts and all of the stats and all of the relevant information as to countries with emphasis on East Africa, but throughout Africa in general, and looking at the benefits, the pros and the cons. Then in hearing all of the information, I actually signed up. It was a paid membership, and I don't usually sign up to these things lightly. So I signed up, and then I participated in the course. And then the more facts were being presented about Rwanda in terms of ease of being able to do business there, ease of operating there, the the um, the position of the government in terms of the efforts they're making and the reputation they have for having conducive um, for promoting a conducive environment for foreigners. Obviously the proximity of the country as well being in East Africa. So the more I weighed it up, the more I heard the information, my mind started to orientate towards coming to Rwanda. And then doing my own research and looking at different things, I scheduled a visit and traveled um, to pay Rwanda a visit. And it was all quite spontaneous. There was the need for being proactive because with us being from Britain and with us, with myself knowing I can suffer from procrastination and from being in an environment that for the most part doesn't allow us to see that we're in a global world for the most part and can have us in a mode of operating where we're not clear that we need to jump up and look at alternatives for ourselves. So I traveled, but before traveling, because the program that I was on looked at the different business sectors over here, they showcased the hospitality sector as up and coming, the construction sector, agriculture. Then I decided that it would be good use of my time in visiting to look and see if I could find some land because, this, again, the theme, ownership is freedom. Turning vision into legacy is not lost on me. The fact that I have 7 children, the fact that there was no grandchildren at the time, but 7 children is enough, right? So in having 7 children and knowing, again, the UK, it doesn't necessarily allow us to pass on a legacy. It doesn't allow us to um, to decide on anything or take a course of action that's not gonna really, for the most part, it's not gonna something that's not gonna require us to work very hard, giving all our time and effort, and to really um, invest our time and our effort into a system that gives us nothing in return. So the idea of traveling and locking in some land was for me something that was worth my time. So I did. But ahead of that, I looked online. Imagine I looked online and I saw some land that was available. There were some locations that had been recommended by the the sister that was running the program. And because her program was so comprehensive, I took it on board then I started to look in this location where I ended up buying the land Muhazi. I traveled, I connected with some effectively they were agents, and um, it all went pretty smoothly, although in being from the UK and being non-Rwandese, they couldn't resist the opportunity of trying to take advantage of me. The lamb was selling for a certain price, and then when I came, there seemed to be some changes. It's worth saying, when I was in Tanzania, when I originally went, and in subsequently visiting Tanzania, I ended up trying to buy some land in Tanzania as well, and had a bad experience. So um, these experiences, that particular initial bad experience, had me wary, to the degree that when I was in Rwanda now, I was wary. Who likes to be taken advantage of?
Right.
Is anyone like to be taken advantage of and scammed? So we wasn't down with that. Then we found a way of connecting directly with the landlord, and um, it went very smoothly. We was able to purchase the land whilst there. So I traveled for 2 weeks. Then within 2 weeks, I had managed to lock in the land deal, sign an agreement, pay a deposit. But this was after doing due diligence. This wasn't um, like what had happened in Tanzania or can happen in Gambia or Ghana or some of these other places. The One of the attractive things with Rwanda is that they have systems in place, efficient systems that are up to the modern times. I shared this when I did the initial presentation. Um, they have an online system that allows anybody, even from in the UK, to be able to go online and to using a reference number, we can look up a land parcel, and it brings up all the relevant information about the land, the owner, the size, if there's any outstanding caveats. So this is a great system and a great way for giving obviously assurances and confidence for those that want to try and buy land. And then Rwanda has that reputation as well. So with Rwanda having established a reputation where these things are concerned, then this gives us and gave me the confidence for moving forward. So then on buying the land, it was earmarked hospitality, just like in the UK when it comes to planning permission and any idea of land for development, then depending on what the designation of land is, you're governed by that. So I fell in love with the sheer beauty of the land, and the location. So at this time, it'd be good if I could maybe share my presentation, a few slides,
Yes, sir.
just for bringing home. So there's a lot to be said for coming into an environment, whether it's the Caribbean or in Africa, where there's natural beauty. So as soon as I had found myself in that location by a lake in that natural environment, I remember calling my sister on the day and saying to her, like, I got to buy this land. She had shown interest in buying land over there as well, so I was sharing that with her. And I didn't know I was going to necessarily be building or have follow through with any idea of building a resort. The idea was to lock in the land really for what that afforded me a starting place, which was to invest some money in some land, because even 5 years ago, the idea of having money in a bank compared to having money and bought some land that you believe is a good investment for being able to hold that money for me, it wasn't rocket science. So if I can quickly, if I can, I'd like to just share. Sorry, can you see that?
Yeah, we could see your screen.
So I just wanted to just quickly show a video of this. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, my apologies. I did have these.
You said we're currently going through rainy season in Rwanda.
Yeah, it's rainy season. It is. Can you see that now?
Yes, we can see partially. You got to open it up.
Wow.
There you go.
If you are, you can't believe what we transform into.
This is I just want to give you an idea. Adjacent to what we just walked from. So you can see the contrast. So usually they're saying they could do this in 2 weeks, but we'd be willing to give them a month. Trust me.
Pretty.
This looks. So it's just to give you a picture tells 1,000 words, right? So I wanted to just let you see how aesthetically beautiful that land, that location is. And that's pretty much adjacent to my plot.
And I remember when you first was laying eyes on it, and you did share it with me. And if you remember, I was trying to grab a piece myself, and the prices had gone up exponentially. So walk us through you how soon you said pretty much soon after you went, the opportunity to make that purchase came up. I'd love to see a few more pictures if you could. So continue with your presentation, and I'll jump back in a few minutes.
Okay, yes, sir. So I just wanted to in looking at the influence of spiritual injection, I realized that some of the subjects that feature have been instrumental for me personally for some of the things that I've had to do, and who would have known. Even can you see how I built a top resort in Jamaica? Do you remember that
Yeah,
presentation?
that's great.
So what's the odds that down the line I didn't know I was going to be heading to kind of do the same thing, but I remember the inspiration from that, and then estate planning and how that feeds into the theme today. So that doesn't seem to want to change. So Rwanda, a great place to do business.
Building almost looks like London.
Okay, so apologies. This is my land as I found it. So virgin land and all that comes with it. There's no electricity, no water. It's virgin land. Then I wasn't deterred in the least by not knowing anything about land development. I've got a construction background to a degree, working on a building site, then working for organizations for managing their housing stock, but a long way from land development. And I'm going to go into that a little bit. But the idea was, it's mine. And then in very quickly being even able to bring my small children over there within a couple of months of having relocated there, which was I gave up where I was living in the UK and actually set up and established a place here in Rwanda. So then in bringing the children there and then seeing the benefits of them interacting in their environment with a view to knowing, even at their young age, that there's something going on. With clearing my mind that whatever we expose our young people to, then we're segueing towards being able to orientate them and have some control over where we want to direct them in the future. So that's the benefit of the Caribbean, that's the benefit of Africa. So from virgin land, then the idea for me on it's cementing in my mind that this is something that I have to really focus on for being able to make manifest any idea that I have for making this into a hospitality project. Then I had to go to work. Then initially that work involved structuring something. You remember we had a presentation and then a masterclass on structuring for success, structuring business, structuring business for success on an international level, which was featuring a different type of business, although the principles was the same in that unless we go after structuring what we need to do the right way with due diligence, because business is warfare, then unless that's done, then we can be setting ourselves up for being less than successful. So I engaged with some local professionals here in Rwanda. There's so many of them, so many, just like throughout Africa, there's so much up and coming young talent, very talented. And one of the things that us from the diaspora in coming to the UK for fulfilling that vision of Blacks from the diaspora, Blacks, whether America or Europe, being able to solve the problems of Africa, play a part in solving the problems of Africa. One of the things that we have to be clear about is that talent is here to a different degree, that we've got talent, and joining on to our own in that way is where our success lies. So I'm interacting with professionals. Here's an architect that got his degree in China, learned Mandarin to be able to get his degree in architecture, speaks 4 languages. So I said, you may be qualified for being able to look at doing something for me, and then we engaged. But I set up RFL Building Services as a vehicle for being able to engage in what I would need to do and all the logistics that came with it. So it's been fun for me. It's been very enjoyable. I've heard you speak here to Brother Minister. When we go into environments that are all Black and engaging with people and see the ease by which we can make progress in a small amount of time. One of the things that I have to say for being here in Rwanda, and it's happened so many times, and it speaks into us being our own selves and being able to really align ourselves with our true spiritual selves. And this is why I want to encourage everybody, for following through on whatever vision you have and whatever ideas you have for any kind of relocation, repatriation. And don't be deterred by anything. Don't be deterred by these negative thoughts of things going wrong, of not being able to overcome any problem that presents itself. Because here in Rwanda, I can say, without being, I can say from experience that in bringing to mind those things that I needed and in having an idea in mind, it was just a matter of time before I ran into somebody or would get a recommendation towards that which I was trying to achieve. Like it happened too many times to be coincidence. So that's one of the benefits of being in this environment that I've seen personally. So then engaging with professionals and then in being able to try to familiarize myself with processes, policies and procedures here. They got rules and regulations, they got laws. So we have to make sure that we follow those laws and those rules. So I needed to go after a construction permit, put in my architectural designs in terms of giving all of the information as to the concept I have for my project, but full architectural drawings. So my architect, he produced full architectural drawings and we submitted those and it was subject to a time frame. Now, where I am at Muhazi, they have special requirements. Like any government, they're not playing with any idea of anything being detrimental to the location and all of the considerations not being followed. So I don't know if you can see there's for what I'm proposing, there's two parts to my land. There's an upper part and there's a lower part. The lower part is nearer to the lake. It has special requirements in that. Any idea of pollution, anything that's going to ill affect the lake and that natural beauty and that natural wooded area is what gets scrutinized. So the concept for Love Mohazi, it follows the idea that there'll be two types of accommodation, two types of luxury accommodation spread over the whole area of 3,700 square meters. So it's just under an acre, which is pretty big, which I discovered. I discovered that's a pretty big plot of land to be talking about developing as someone
Yeah.
that's never developed land before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we ran into it. We ran into it. And it's been it was a wake-up call. But we're up for the challenge. We're up for the challenge to whatever degree. So we had to engage and get the special permits and everything for being able to build it. But we're engaging and we in starting the process and in having a vision in mind and a concept, and then wanting to meet and engage with the capable people that are there that can deliver on the work and take on board building the project to the degree that you have in your mind. That was a task in and of itself. Everything is not plain sailing, although after difficulty comes ease, as we know. So we got to engage. We got to engage. And then in engaging, we find the route through. So I ended up
Just
having
before you go any further, is the land that you purchased, is it leasehold or freehold?
it's leasehold now. It's
Okay.
leasehold. So it's a 99-year lease. And there was no getting away from that. Now, that's obviously an individual decision for anybody that's buying land. Obviously, my preference would be to buy it freehold, but the freehold is not going. But what is going is the leasehold with my name on the title deed. I don't know if you can see that. It looks a little bit
Yes.
cloudy. But that meant a lot for me. I remember getting that title deed and sending it to my children. Look, we've got some land.
Nice.
It was a benchmark. It was a benchmark time for me. and very satisfying, because the idea is that we're our owner even to the degree that it's leasehold, because it's what we're bringing to the endeavor, right? Because as leasehold, then we know we got to follow through with establishing what we need to establish and then make that land work as an investment and as a legacy for our children.
Yes.
We had the training when we spoke into leaving legacies for our children,
Yes.
and setting up trust funds. So I don't mind telling you that I have 2 pieces of land here in Rwanda, and both of those pieces of land, I've incorporated them into a trust fund, together with my will, for being able to follow through on what you decided to be a theme of this, brother minister. Ownership is freedom, turning vision into legacy, because it needs to be followed through on, to the degree that you're going to get the full benefit. And so the planning and the execution has to be done for being able to achieve the results that you desire. So these children know, they know that that's done. Then even with the small children visiting there in Rwanda, they've now been twice here. And inshallah, I'm hoping they'll come again this year, the small ones. Then even my big daughters visited me, and spent a month here. And again,
Great.
that was a great blessing for me, even though daddy had to pay. Daddy doesn't mind
Daddy
paying.
always
Daddy
pays, brother.
doesn't mind paying. A day is coming when daddy won't have to pay, but for now, daddy's got to pay. And
But
they
for
came
now,
over, and they don't know how much joy that brought to me. They don't know. They don't know. Because for them to be here, there's a video I could show you where I had entertained the idea, like, look, all this land, I'm doing this thing by myself. I entertained doubt for a minute. And
yeah,
I shared that with them, and they was like, no, Dad, no, you need to follow through and build something. You said, no, you can't sell this. And that was really encouraging for me, because
very good.
that engagement and that and the thought that was given to that, and just even that emotional um, engagement and attachment, then it's sending down roots, right?
Yeah,
Because inshallah, they'll be here to help me with the result. So it's all setting and sowing seeds as far as I'm concerned. So I just wanted to speak a little bit, if I may, brother minister. I hope this is I hope everyone's following this presentation and it's not sporadic.
no, it's fine.
No.
Continue.
Okay. I just wanted to speak a little bit about some of the benefit that I've had here in Rwanda, because as Sister Sylvina mentioned, like, we're taking on board being a global citizen today. We don't want anything less, since we know the earth and its measurements. We know there's 57,255,000 square miles of land, and we want some. Then we even want to be able to travel and see other parts with ease. We don't want to have to take 2 weeks out of our time from work once a year or even twice a year to be able to go on a holiday and then go back to the reality of living in the UK 9 to 5 and all of these things. We don't want that nowadays. We want to be able to locate where we see there's an opportunity, because the opportunities are not just local. And we want to be able to, at the same time, stay connected, because we got modern technology and we're in a technological age. So there's nothing wrong with us doing that. And one of the things that I discovered very soon, is that, and it made me feel a bit naive, like, people are doing this all day long from all over. People have the lifestyle where they have that extra degree of freedom where if the idea is that you want to be in Uganda, you can go to Uganda and be there. If you've got something to do there in Uganda and you got residual income, if you got residual income or set up and establish yourself to whatever degree of investments that allows your time to be well spent there, then it can be done. Because all of that is to say, we're not trying to be a tourist and to be vain in flying
Right.
here, there, and everywhere. So I managed to travel since being here, based in Rwanda, Kigali. I went to Kampala, Uganda. Then I went from Uganda, Kampala to Nairobi in Kenya. Can see them on the map. I went to Mombasa. I'd like to be able to show you photographs, however, another time maybe. But all of these places, which were all beautiful, all beautiful. I made connections with people and networked, saw land, saw opportunities. My cup was running over. It was running over. And any idea of being exposed to these things and these opportunities and knowing that they're there for us. We don't need to necessarily chase them. We should move out with intention and not waste time, but we don't need to chase them. They're there. We have to just expose ourselves to them, right?
Right.
So from Nairobi, Mombasa, then I went to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. These are all bordering countries. Then I went from Tanzania to Zanzibar, a beautiful island off the coast of Tanzania. You know, just when you thought you've seen one beautiful place, you're running into another one. You're like which one's more beautiful? You can't compare because everyone has its own unique characteristic. So we're not jet setters. We weren't taking flights from all of these places. We soldiered by road as best we can. We planned our journey and we looked at logistics, we looked at finance, and we said, we're going to move out like this and do our reconnaissance and do a little tour and see what's what. Then when we got to Dar es Salaam, we flew back to Kigali. But that was one trip. And then more recently, I had the opportunity to visit the Congo. The Congo is, you've all heard about the Congo. You all would have heard about conflict where Congo is concerned, Goma and Bukavu and these places. I bought some land in a town that borders DRC, borders Goma. You can literally cross the border into Goma. It's a border crossing like that. You cross the border. It's very surreal. It was my second attempt at going to DRC. When I went the first time, I was naive. I was in Gisenyi, the border town. Then knowing that people are crossing the border all the time and I had the opportunity, I went along to try and cross the border with my British passport. British passport over here can be to your detriment. So then trying to have cross the border with my British passport, it wasn't working. They wanted to charge me like the highest amount of visa cost I've ever paid in all of those countries that I traveled to. I never had to pay like, I think it was $250 or $300 just for a visa. That was for British passport holders and US passport holders. Because I remember returning being disappointed, you know, having them say in French to me, c'est pas possible, monsieur, c'est pas possible, because I was trying to cross with my British passport. It's not possible. Then I had to return. But the second time, having been afforded the benefit of this, which is status here in Rwanda, and this is all for encouraging us that in making up our mind that we're going to relocate anywhere, then in moving out to do it, then I'm sure we'll be surprised as to the benefits and the advantages that we can afford ourselves. So in getting this status, which is it's a Rwandese identity card, which because I have a 2-year work permit, which I acquired by way of my project, then I have status. So I was actually able to take this card because Rwanda has a agreement with Burundi to the south. Rwanda essentially has Congo on the west, Tanzania on the east, Uganda on the north, and it has Burundi on the south. There's an agreement between Congo and Burundi and Rwanda, which allows for travel. Then I was able to travel into Goma with my ID. I needed a permit, travel document, which I applied for. Within 3 days, they gave me that. Cost me $10. So I'm very pleased because the sense of freedom was very, very satisfying for me. Goma is a hub in East Africa where the opportunities that are there, and in general, the cross-border opportunities that are available for the wide awake man are mind-blowing, 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 as far as I'm concerned. Then we weren't being reckless. We did our due diligence. We went onto the UK advisory, travel advisory, and what we saw was travel to Goma under no circumstances, risk of kidnapping, etc., etc., etc. But because we're from the UK and we know these people and we know the history and we have ability to use our own intelligence, then we were able to do a calculation and the conclusion we came for is that no, it won't be dangerous for me to travel to this place in Goma and spend a day or a couple of days once I do my due diligence. So we did. So, that's to say, as I was mentioning earlier, that the fear factor, it features a lot for us. It features a lot for us. Then we got to let go of that fear. We got to let go of in coming to Africa with a Western mentality, if that's possible. We got to understand and appreciate that sometimes our Western mentality can be to our detriment because it's a mentality that's rooted in fear for the most part, in general. I can't speak to it for everybody. I speak for myself.
Yeah.
So there's benefits for being able to be located in a different country, depending on the location, for having access to other places. Then, as I was mentioning earlier, with any idea of being a global citizen, then we have to look at how we can have an income. All of us have different circumstances, right? Some of us are rich. Some of us have investments that we can live off. Some of us have residual income. Some of us are hustlers, side hustlers, and so on and so forth. When we're coming to relocate, it's not a holiday, right? So I ran into that. And being here, you're spending money here, there, and everywhere for whatever reason. Cost of living is cheaper here, The expenses, I prefer to have the expenses here than there in the UK. I managed to drive into the congestion charge. I borrowed my sister's car, drove into the congestion charge, unbeknown to me, come back to Rwanda. Mohammed, I've just had a ticket through £100. They took it out of my account because she's using a hire car. She got a hire contract. So they took the money out of her account. Then who you think's got to pay her the money back? It burned me some money. It
Of
burned me
course, if the body of
£100.
Salamat tuwata food in Rwanda, ain't it?
That's that's enough. That's enough to last you a month when it comes to expenditure where certain things are concerned. Trust me.
And I can't even wrap my head around that. You know, like we become so numb, to the truth because we live this fallacy of thinking that, you know, paying for overpriced or overpriced for everything is normal. And it's anything but normal. But if you don't have that comparison or something to compare it to, then it is actually our normal, you know. So what you have is a new normal, you know, as opposed to the old normal. So yeah, this is the same place, right?
No, this is a different place. Look at what you just said. Establishing a new normal for yourself, redefining our environment, designing the life you operate in. So, it starts by exposing ourselves to a new location and then seeing what the possibilities are from that, right? So
Now,
this is
what I'm looking at now. If you're in the Caribbean and you have that, like the amount of, and you build like a little resort that you mentioned, maybe just 12 studio apartments, like you're on a minimum of 200 a day, US minimum. If it's done well, you're looking up to 500 each unit a day. And particularly in high season as we're getting into, and particularly with the war that's broken out, no one's heading in that direction, then the Caribbean and destinations like that will be overrun this summer. So as I'm looking at your view just from here, my God, like you don't need to. And I just want to talk into the myth of thinking, oh, okay, just because the land, like to have that land and to lease it for 99 years might not be attractive. Like 99 years is a whole heap of time to make some money, and to lay a foundation for your family. And if the truth be told, just like here, and correct me if I'm wrong, if when you've lived 10 years, 15 years out of the lease and it drops down to say 85, 80, you can always renew it back up to 99, right? And there's no problem with that. It's almost by law. They have to renew it because it's in their advantage, because no freeholder will be around to see the full term of the lease, lived out. So here in the UK, by law, they have to increase the length of time. And there is a calculator online, as you're familiar, Brother Lionel, and a set fee that they have to charge. And a freeholder just can't say, well, I want X amount. No, there's actually a standard, and a calculator, that everybody has to go by. And you can just put your freehold, your lease details in the government computer, and it will tell you how much you need to pay. I think they call it a marriage, in order to marry the numbers together. And it's very straightforward. So I don't want anybody to think, that having a leasehold piece of land is a downside. Not at all. In many instances, it can actually be to your benefit, particularly if you approach it from a commercial perspective. And I think, Brother Lionel, the problem with so many of us, we see this and, oh, well, I'm build a big house and you're going to die. Like you're only going to get 10 years out of it, 20 years out of it. Say you must build something that is a business for your family. Because when you were speaking about resort versus just house that you might only stay, 3 months out of the year, even 4, even 6 months out of the year. But what's the point of having an acre of land and you can only live on 2,000 square foot of it? what are you going to do? Build a house to cover an acre? The most you're going to live on is 2,000. And if you really want to be palatial, okay, let's stretch it to 3,000 square foot. 3,000 square feet of home is a whole heap of space. 5,000 is you need a dog to help you to find the different rooms. 5,000 is a whole heap of square footage. And particularly if you build a split level. But if it's all on one level and it's very open plan, again, to build it, do you really want to strap yourself up with 5,000 square foot of floor tiles? you know, 9 meters. If the length of your room is, say, 12 meters long, do you really want glass doors, 12 meters worth of glass? It's a lot of money. And you could put a nice little structure there for even 1,500 square foot, 2,000 max, live there, and then build these little cottages that you can rent, and manage whilst you're there. Because if you can have even just build one cottage at a time, 500 square foot, 600 square foot, studio, open plan, or 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, just partition walls, and you're looking out at that, what's on the screen? Oh my God. Like people go to their place and sleep and have fun. And most of the time they want to be out, just sitting and whatnot. So what I'm looking at here is, you took it down. Bring it back. Mm-hmm. Bring it back. And you're going to show me something else.
The photos don't necessarily do it justice.
I could imagine.
Phenomenal. And that lake there, you can't compare that lake to Mohazi. Mohazi is just like a little pond. That's the great Lake Kivu. There's no end to that lake. It's like you think you're looking at a sea.
And it's a lake.
It's a lake, right? Wow. But I agree, like with the business concept of having and owning land. I was fortunate, blessed, because I didn't know I was necessarily buying hospitality.
That was the blessing.
See,
them earmarking the land for hospitality, that was the seed.
Yes.
It was forcing you to think commercial as opposed to residential.
Yes, sir. And it's been forcing me ever since.
Yeah.
Then being able to do it justice, because we then had to go after how we gonna package this project, how we gonna theme it, and how we gonna follow through with the a full branding, with all that comes with a full book business concept. And for us that aren't necessarily experienced business people, it's a challenge. So we've had to engage with that which can afford us ability to fast track towards skills and knowledge that will allow us to do the best job that we can. So with what you were sharing there, Brother Minister, I was just going to share a concept that I'm looking at for the lakeside at Mohazi, which is it's like a semi-wooded area, and it's something that would afford me the benefit of delivering hospitality accommodation in a way that can be attractive and achieve the objectives.
Introducing the Armadillo Guest Tent, crafted by Savannah Luxury Tents and Habitats for Love Mahazi, Rwanda, a sanctuary where design meets nature.
So it's a simple concept. It's effectively a tent, a strong tent, but high end, where we don't need to be. Can you hear me?
Yeah. But white people love that, brother. Black people want some brick.
Yeah. And
Sylvina, you can't see yourself asleep in that tent.
Run the matter,
I don't
run the
like calling them.
bricama.
I don't like calling them tents. I think the tent does it a disservice
That's
because
it.
like
Change the
it's
language.
Okay,
it's canvas
right.
stretch,
Like a
frame
canopy,
canvas.
You
right.
tell me, them have lion and robe on there?
What kind of layer them have crocodiles?
Crocodile,
There's
right.
So,
none. There's none of that. No, there's none
Okay.
of not in Rwanda. I think they brought in some lions at a place called uh Agasira. If any of the Rwandese that I've invited on this call are on there, they can correct my pronunciation. But they have the five um whatever they call it, the five wildlife animals that make a safari park, a national park, qualifies it for a national park, lions and all of this stuff. We haven't actually been.
no, I
We went to
mean that.
Kenya.
Tell me this: can you actually that lake there? Can you swim in it?
You can swim in it, although my focus for there will be activities on the lake, boating,
Right.
a pier, a dining pier, and all of these things. So, if
I
I may,
mean,
since
endless. This sounds so beautiful. And
yes,
when you were
sir.
speaking, because once we get out of our head and just become a bit more adventurous, sleeping in, as you mentioned, like that, what you showed us is very beautiful. It's very romantic. Love it. Very romantic. And when you go to some of these places, what they have is like these big bowls, like steel bowls, where at nighttime they put wood in it and just make it burn. I've seen them do that in this cold country. Just have the bowls, and great places, great lakes you can go to in this country, and they turn it into what you just showed us that is so natural. So I can see the concept, and you would be sold out as soon
Yeah.
as you're complete. And the beauty
Yeah.
about pursuing an endeavor the way how you're pursuing it as a resort and as a business is you can never go wrong, because even if, for instance, money was askance, a bank would easily borrow you money to complete that, where they can see money coming back, as opposed to borrowing you money to finish a vain house for yourself. You with me? If it's a residential house, they're not giving you no money if you run out. But if it's a project that brings in an income, then any manager who's worth anything would give you the money to complete it, so that you can.
Especially where you got the title deed for the land. Like that, first and foremost, they're like, well, we'll take the title deed as collateral.
Yes.
So yes, you're right, Robert Minister. And then with you mentioning romance, it brought a smile to my face, because I've in trying to go after the full package. We've done it in spiritual injection, like you drilled it in us. Like, we need proper branding. We need to be able to brand that concept now for being able to deliver on the experience, the valuable experience that we want. So we've themed love, hence Love Muhazi Resort. It's a resort themed on love. So people will come there and celebrate love in all its expressions, whether they're honeymooning, whether they're dating, whether they're just bonding. So this is the coming soon website that you can actually visit and sign up for our newsletter, for being able to get information about forthcoming deals in the launch in.
You see where I'm going with it? Love between two souls,
Women one.
I'm not joke, man, I tell you.
Run this little thing. So
that's the
I
blessing
want
of having
to
7
recognize
children. You have experience. You understand? And you.
I should have known I was putting myself in trouble entertaining that discussion. I should have known.
So that's beautiful, brother.
Yeah.
Look at that. Keep going. Show us the rest of it.
Let me recognize Sister Nora very quickly, who put together this website.
Oh, Nora's in the picture. Let's give her a big round all the way from Serbia. Let's give her a big round of applause in the house. Well done, Sister Nora.
So we want infinity pool.
Beautiful.
We want space and an environment that's gonna be
Beautiful.
attractive. And we're putting emphasis from now on value and a service that is second to none, because one of the things here about Rwanda, and I think is something that applies out to other African countries, with hospitality, with all of these big hotels and chains that have come and established themselves and roll out their standard operating procedure, they have training and so on and so forth, and have gone to work for making sure that they have that standard that they can deliver. But in general, that's lacking when you go around different businesses and establishments. It's lacking. So there's a, it's a almost like a niche for being able to come in and really take hold of that, for being able to deliver on making sure that people are satisfied when they come. So full hospitality, full service, and serving. So that's the theme, love, with a view to making sure that we can deliver. Our philosophy is love as well-being. Love is well-being. Love Mahazi Resort, love is not just an emotion, it's a lifestyle. We believe in well-being is rooted in how we love ourselves and others. So we're going after the branding, brother and sisters, and we want to be able to share the ideas so that any idea of visiting Rwanda, this resort is acting as a beachhead, so that since all of the work has been done in terms of knowing processes and procedures, buying land, buying property, establishing a business, since we've been here and we've done it, then we reserve the right for being able to help and support with that. And because we know, and these other projects that you spoke about, Brother Minister, that I've had the privilege of being exposed to, where your idea has always been that these things have to be done on a community level. You mentioned it this week already when we spoke on Monday, that unless we take on board doing things in a unified way as a community, then we're really putting ourselves at a disadvantage, because there's a brother that I met over here from the UK, and we soon ran into the fact that we're the same tribe. We're the same tribe. We've got the same culture. We've got the same vibe. And so there's nothing that's going to substitute for being able to, join onto your own and be able to function, because what you can do as two, you can't do it as one. So what we can do as a body and as a community, we can't take that for granted. So I just wanted to show this video very quickly if I could. But you can go to lovemohazi.com. It's a coming soon website. And then if you scroll down, you'll see all of what the plan is for having an offer there. Bespoke services. You're going to be able to look out, watch movies under the night sky. You're going to be able to have bespoke, on location experiences that are linked to well-being and showing love for self. So if you want to know exactly what's there, you're going to have to visit the website.
Fantastic.
And you can get further information by just signing up. So I think pretty much that's the idea that I wanted to share in a way of progress that I feel has been made here. We thank Almighty God, Allah, and I really want to put myself in a position to be of service. It's very important for me. I'm always in the UK trying to showcase Rwanda and let people know the idea they have of some of these things so far removed from what they're going to find when they come here. So I'm looking forward to my big son coming here this year. My two big sons, they're the only ones that haven't been. And then I've got some comprehensive help, right? Because we need it. We need it.
Absolutely.
So with that said, I think I'll bring my little presentation to an end. I've said enough. And I really thank you for the opportunity. Thank all of the participants for indulging me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. And we look forward to doing a part two. Let's just before brother goes, we're gonna have a little quick conversation. We got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes left. And Sister Nora's here. She's looking forward to her invitation, brother Lionel. So she can have one of her. She's online. She said she's coming there in the next couple of years for her anniversary. So,
Next year, yes.
yeah, she's coming. So all of that to say, dear brother, it really is take down the presentation so that we can see you bigger, have a fuller screen if you stop the share. So Sylvina, when did you say you're going?
I don't allow him for time me down yet. Every time I talk to him, I ask me when we're coming. But I do, just listening to you, Brother Lionel, and listening to your journey, because as you said in the first presentation, you showed us the raw land and the land opportunities, and just to know that you have been working, I wouldn't say behind the scenes because you've been living your life, right? But I say behind the scenes in terms of it hasn't been at the forefront of our consciousness, at least. And to hear now that you've reached this place, I might even come stay and I want your canvas structure them. I'm not only am I motivated, but I'm actually happy. I'm really happy for you that you've been able to go, and make a success of it, because it is a success. I know it's the beginning.
Yeah, okay, but it's great.
It's a success. It really is a success. Great. So it's
great. Yeah. One of our philosophies, that we have been taught is God only helps those who help themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're found helping yourself, then you justify the help of the Most High.
Yeah.
The Most High can't help you to just think. And some of us are happy with God helping us to think. That's nice. That's very nice. And we call on him when we're sick. But isn't it nice to have a big, meaty project for us to call on him to help us with? Like a meaty project. Because when you've got big people are not going to answer when you call them to something that they know you can do by yourself if you just increase your faith. So when you step out on faith and you're punching above your weight, that's when people start to see potential.
Yeah.
If I train him up, train her up, polish him up, polish her up, they have a big spirit, and it's great that you've traveled to all them countries, because I know you're a lone wolf at times. You just pack your bag and you're gone. You ain't moving out necessarily with a crew. You'll go and make it work and find somewhere to rest your head. We was blessed to go to Ghana together. I think it was it Ghana or Gambia? Gambia. We went to the Gambia together. And I wanted to, when I go to places like Africa, I like to go with people who know the place and who are kind of rough and ready. And when we went to Ghana, that's why I was glad when Brother Colin was on the team, because I know Colin is an adaptable kind of man. And it was me and you and Colin. We
It can
were,
be.
yeah. And as God will have it, we turned that place into like, even though the accommodation wasn't the best, we turned it into free kings. Like we took over the whole dining area where we just had this big table to ourselves and they cooked us good food. And when we went, we changed people. Like everybody changed to meet our standards. And it was such a blessing, like such a blessing. And if you're going anywhere and brother's going to be there, he's a resourceful man. He's a man who will make things happen and, give you the kind of comfort that you need as opposed to, just hanging out. You know what I mean? So again, very, very pleased, very happy with what you're doing. And I see tremendous scope for investors, once you've laid your foundation, to expand. And once you've got it up and running, all your neighbors, their lands will start coming up for sale and you'll be able to expand and expand and expand and expand. And that's the key, right? Is if your neighbors ain't doing nothing with their land and they see you monetizing your land, they will either follow suit or come and knock at your door, and give you an opportunity to expand what you're doing. And that's when you call us and we come. Okay?
Yes,
The cavalry comes in, and you run that project for a year. Once you launch in 2027, and by 2028, 29, you're in profit, your books are nice and well documented, you'll have something massive for your children, that a going concern, a business that, anytime they're fed up with this country, they got somewhere they can go and stay for free and they can work and earn their keep by working because nothing's free. They come and help you run the business, go and turn down a few beds and, do some maintenance and, you know what I mean? Fix a few things, take some people out on the lake in the boat, earn your keep, cook some food, earn your keep, so much scope. And that's what life has got to be about. You have to have something that your progeny, your children and family can come and extend and make bigger if they're so inclined. Yeah, if they're so inclined. So that's great. And we're very pleased. Sister Sylvina, did you want to chime in before we conclude?
Just to encourage those of our guests on the line, I'm sure you can think of people who are not here who would be interested in, as Lionel says, following the development of the resort and being one of the first to go out there and stay, So I know of people on the line that are interested in opportunities on the continent. And what better way to have an introduction to it than to go to someone who has become highly recommended to you? So, go to the website, subscribe. Well, it's under construction at the moment, Lionel, is it? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's under construction, but those concerned can register.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So one last thing, just before you close, Sylvina, was as someone from the Caribbean and you're going into Africa, this part of Africa, was there any culture shock there? Did you find ackee and saltfish? How did it work?
I think like Jamaicans are so popular, right? All over, like, popular all over the world.
Yeah.
The whole culture for others wanting to be Jamaican, you notice, right?
Yeah. So you were able to market the Jamaican side of yourself.
100%,
So,
which is a
so
positive.
and again, like as someone from the Caribbean like that, do you think there's scope for things like a Caribbean restaurant and things like that?
100%. There's a Caribbean restaurant that's set up here in Kigali. Even I was entertaining the idea of setting up Yadi in Kigali.
Yeah.
We ran with it. We ran with it. We was pursuing that like with vigor, you know.
Nice.
So like there's so much opportunity. But the brand of Jamaican, there was a woman here and she was being so fierce with the Jamaican brand because we know that there's a side to Jamaican culture that gets focused on that doesn't end up being the best side.
Mm.
And she was like, make sure that you represent what Jamaica stands for, and that it's a culture that's set a lot of standards for the world and as you've mentioned so many times, popularized Africa, and the spirit that come out of Jamaica is second to none, you know. So yeah, there's definitely scope. You better
Love it.
believe. Yes, sir.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So the cultural exchange is strong, huh?
Yeah, I can show you a video like right now. I was here with what him name the I can never remember the prime minister's name. Goldie. He
Bruce, I'm
Bruce
son.
Goldie. No,
Yeah.
who's the current prime minister of Jamaica? Like I'm put to
Oh,
shame.
wholeness.
Holness. He came to Rwanda. Pre President Kagame visited Jamaica
Yeah.
also. Visited Jamaica, visited Barbados.
Yeah.
That was after Holness came here. He came here for the Commonwealth Heads of State. I was like, very, very close to him when he was giving a press conference. So I saw all of that. And then they signed agreements. Now, even now, there's a contingent of Rwandan soldiers in Jamaica for helping them with the relief efforts following the
Wow.
Hurricane Lisa. Yeah, so
Wow.
they've got agreements in place and collaboration. So that's potential for the future that, you know, we can position ourselves for being able to definitely
Definitely.
capitalize big
Yeah.
fields of the wider way.
Yeah. We got a small window of opportunity. We got to get busy. So
Yes, sir.
thank you, brother. We're at our time now. And, did you want to say something, Sylvina, just before we conclude?
No, yes, just to finish that point in terms of registering with the website. We have first-hand exposure to someone who's doing something groundbreaking. What came to mind is like sandals in Jamaica. I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, that's what came to mind when you were showing us the branding. And it's, normally we don't get to know or be introduced personally to the CEOs of these types of resorts. Okay, so but we are now. Okay, and every resort had their beginning, and we
Yeah.
mustn't think because it's somebody that is at arm's length that it can't be or won't be, as popular or as great as those that are out there. So stay connected, register,
Absolutely. I
follow the
remember
development.
going to Jamaica and going to Golden Eye,
Yeah.
which is owned by Chris Blackwood.
Okay.
And that's where
Okay.
they call it is it James Bond something. And that's where the former or the theme producer of James Bond, Ian Fleming. That's where he lived when he was in Jamaica, and they named the beach after his depiction of this British agent James Bond. But he wrote most of the novels in Jamaica, and his main residence was right there in St. Anne's. And I remember visiting there, and I was with a major um, developer here in the UK, major. He has the largest had the largest property hedge fund in the UK. And when I told him I was going to Jamaica, he said he wanted to come with me. So we went together and we were there at the same time. And he was having lunch with the director of this resort. and they were building in excess of like 500 little cottages in on this resort. They'd bought hectares, like one of the most beautiful beaches you would ever see in your life. I mean, the sand was so white and the water was so glistening. If you looked at it without sunglasses, you would go blind. It was that majestic. And the best food in Jamaica. I mean, it's the best food. And he was showing us the plans of building all of these cottages. And these cottages were approximately 600 square foot, like little nothing cottages, all timber framed. I mean, nothing cottages, okay? 600 square foot. And they were renting in excess of, 1,500 US. Entry level was like $500 a night, up to thousands a night, okay? And the purchase price of some of them, this was probably over 15 years ago, the purchase price, they started for 600 square foot in St. Anne's in Jamaica, all them years ago, started at $1,000,000. Mm-hmm. And I don't you remember the last James Bond that they had with that guy, I can't remember what his name was. They shot a bit of it in Jamaica, and he was in a resort in Jamaica, but it was actually the same place. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was shot in Jamaica. So again, when you have the same type of topography in Rwanda where you are, and in different parts of the world, it's the same topography. And in some instances, some of those places are much more lush, but we just haven't visited to really extrapolate its beauty. And if you can, for a fraction of the price, because some of these places in the Caribbean are super expensive now, like super. And if you can find these nuggets like you have in Rwanda with this lake and set up with that beautiful view, I mean, like you can really do some damage in this life and really give a good account for yourself, in a very short space of time. Because providing, as you said, you can get the planning, and providing you do everything properly, you don't go to the local corner shop and find your builder. Do you understand? You don't go to the local place and just find people on the street, because that's where we get burnt. Is we want to buy stuff, we want to build stuff, and we find people in the market. Why we can't build this, we can't build, and then you give them a chance, and they end up not performing. And as Brother has done, when you want to buy something, go to the government website. Hire professionals who have the credentials. And then if you're going to do some building, hire a building firm who is registered. Because if you can't sue the people, don't use them. If there's no accountability, don't use them. You can't, there's no such thing as a gentleman's agreement where we just shake on it. We shake on nothing. You sign the contract. You with me? And if you don't make your word bond, there is something, I can pursue you through legal channels. Because we're too old to be chasing people with machetes, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
We've gone past that stage in life where we have bust shut out. I bring back my money. No, what we need to do is to be able to pursue people in the court if they exceed the limits. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So always go for the professional route where there is due process. And as Brother's shown you, architects who are registered, not hustlers. And then wherever you are in the world, as long as you use the proper system, then you'll be fine by God's grace. All right. So with that said, all what's left for us to do is thank everybody. And next week, we're staying in Rwanda, Brother Lionel, because we got Brother Asari has been over in Rwanda, because we know Rwanda is his love. Mm-hmm. And he's setting up business and other things. So you on the property side, him on, another type of business side, then next week should be fire. Okay, so we're literally going to do a part 2. So we look forward to having you back on with Brother Asari next week, and he's going to walk us through. I think he was there for a good few months recently, and yeah, we're going to dig down a little deeper into Rwanda. So those of you in the listening audience who have been so patient, and I hope you have learned a lot from this evening, because I've been truly inspired. And as it's the last day of Ramadan for everybody also, it's a double blessing. So give Brother Lionel a big round of applause, and our co-host, Sister Sylvina, and to each and every one of you who have gone out of your way to promote the spiritual injection and bring one of your beautiful family members onto the program so that we can enjoy each other's wonderful spirited company. So with that said, thank you and good night, and enjoy your Eid celebrations, those of you who've been fasting, and we look forward to seeing you on the weekend and latest next week, Thursday. Thank you, and have a very
Thank
good
you, Brother
evening.
Lionel. That was really
Thank
interesting.
you,
Thank
Brother
you.
Lionel.